guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today we are going to talk about mental diet. And don't think about food right now. No thinking about food today. I mean, yes, but not right now. But before we begin to understand what mental diet is, let me tell you a short story. Sophia hit snooze for the third time. It wasn't the cold air keeping her in bed. It was the heaviness in her chest. Her mornings always started the same, scrolling Instagrams that showed perfect life she couldn't relate to. Vacations, promotions, new houses. Twitter bombarded her with angry headlines and bitter arguments. TikTok and Reels offered endless advices on fixing her life, which only made her feel broken. By the time she got up, her day already felt like a loss. Her therapist had warned her about this. Mental junk food, he called it. But it didn't feel optional. Everyone did it. The cycle continued until one evening, Sophia finally cracked after hours of comparing herself to someone's LinkedIn success story. She threw her phone down and stared at the ceiling. "This isn't normal," she whispered. So, as you heard Sophia's story, and you could relate it too, I guess. So, just like Sophia, we are all stuck in the same loop constantly. So, let's now understand what exactly is mental diet. It is not just what we are eating through our mouth, but it is also other things that we are consuming through our eyes, our ears, our mouth, and everything that we as an individual decide to feed our brains. It's not just what we are putting it through your mouth, but also what we decide as an individual to intake in terms of social media, in terms of people, in terms of food, etc. As we know that sudden plannings and sudden changes after oh my god, I have to have a good mental diet and stuff, you cannot change it drastically. It won't be very effective, or it will give you more pain that usually it gives you. Okay, so before we begin, let's understand the causes of why exactly we have a bad mental diet and what does it cause. So firstly, there are many factors that are playing a role in us having a very bad mental diet. So firstly, poor nutrition. So now poor nutrition is basically your omega-3 fatty acids and your minerals, vitamins, which is very essential because whatever you put in your gut also affects your mental health. Because if you see, a lot of dietitians tell you that there is a link between your brain and your gut. So there is this gut brain axis. So whatever you feed, and then you see a lot of girls in periods, they want to crave this, they want to crave that, and you feed them that, and then they are, flying like a Barbie doll. So it works same for everybody, okay? And secondly, having excess processed food. So having a lot of processed food is not good for your health because it will eventually cause inflammation in your body and it will lead to a lot of negative consequences. Third, a lack of sleep. Lack of sleep can actually be very devastating. It can give you very negative results, and not just in terms of your physical health, mental health, or things, but yeah, overall health is affected when you are not sleeping properly. Third, substance use and abuse, or different types of diet that you take, social isolation, that you're not engaging with your people, do affect your mental health. And not just these reasons, there are many reasons like FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Social media plays such a big role in FOMO, creating FOMO for people. It actually creates anxiety in people because they constantly want to check their phones because they don't want to lose on any information that is coming out from the social media. Okay, so yeah, it does put people under pressure, under anxiety, which actually causes them to have a lot of fear of missing out, that is FOMO. And then people have other addictions to phone, which is also known as nomophobia, that the phone must be lost, or they must be something else, like social media also gives you a lot of information load, like a lot of information load, and your brain becomes exhausted that it doesn't want to sleep. It is so addicted to that source of information. It constantly wants to take in more information, but it is not actually processing it. It is just taking in the information. It is just taking the information from here, and it will make a lot of people feel bad about themselves. And social media also does something to us that is not good or right. That it tells us about having a perfect life, which doesn't exist for a lot of people, and there is nothing called a perfect life. Every individual has their own kind of life, and they get to decide what is the definition for perfection for them. And yeah, so these were the some of the causes that I found to be true. And so now let's understand that what can be done exactly. Okay, so now that you know what is mental diet, what is a bad mental diet, now let's understand how we can actually have a good diet, or what is the alternative to a bad mental diet. Okay, so how can we make it healthier? So firstly, limit your screen time. So how many hours you are spending on social media, depending on that you can actually limit your screen time. So for me, like, I go to spend at least an hour on social media, but I'm not so engaged with everything that I see on social media. Secondly, curate your feed, that is block or unfollow or restrict any accounts that give you negative feelings or any negative emotions about things that you're not feeling good about. Third, focus on your real life. Focus on hobbies, people, or even things that you like to do. Have more offline relationships. Sit with your family and friends and spend more time with them instead of just seeing and scrolling through your phone, because it will eventually make you feel sad that, oh my god, this XYZ person is spending time with their family. These group of friends are always hanging out together. Bro, what are you doing? You're just sitting on your phone and doing nothing, just scrolling and watching them and feeling bad about yourself. Don't do that. Instead, you leave that phone for some time and go sit with your family and friends. And last but not the least, to change would be actually self care. And of course, do a lot of hobbies, do offline things, and enjoy every moment that you have. Now, before we move on to practical applications, now firstly understand why do we want to change. So of course there are a lot of reasons, and every individual will have their own opinions about it, but for me, according to my theories, I believe that it will always give you good improved relationships. It will give you better mental health. That means that you will have less stress, less anxiety, because you're not spending a lot of time on social media. You are spending a lot of time on yourself. You are creating more ideas. You are being productive. You are not just consuming. You are letting out your creativity outside. You're portraying it. Okay, so it's not just that you are consuming, it's always very important to let out. So now that we know the causes and the alternatives to it, and why should we do it, now let's begin and do things practically. So now this is your task to start applying these knowledges. Okay, so firstly, start by identifying your current state, your current mental diet. Okay, so that would include you to understand your thought process, your beliefs, and your values, and how you want to use the resources that you consume. Secondly, set your intentions. Decide what you want to feed to your mind, and whatever you don't want to feed your mind, that is things that you want to avoid consuming and things that are not good for you. Third, you can do is practice mindfulness. So yeah, as I always tell, and many people will always tell you to practice mindfulness, because it will eventually lead you to be closer to yourself, and that would eventually require you to be present in that moment and understanding your thoughts and actually processing your thoughts without judging them. Fourth thing that you can do is challenge your negative thoughts. So whenever you have a negative thought arising in your brain, you challenge it and you replace it with a positive thought. So that is like, if I want to scroll social media, okay, I want to see Instagram, I will tell myself, okay, this is not the right time. I have a lot of tasks and maybe I can do this, but not right now. And so I have motivated myself that I have some other tasks which is very important. So I'm going to shift there instead of being here. Okay. Then setting your boundaries, which is very important. Set your boundaries. Know what contents you want to consume, what contents you don't want to consume, and whichever content you want to restrict. And boundaries may also require you to have things like positive self talks, so you can actually cut people off who have a lot of negative talks around you, or content that gives you a lot of negative thought, or any kind of food that you consume which is not good for your body. Just eliminate that. Set your boundaries. Okay, yeah, I know it is important, it is good, but it is not good for me, so I'm not gonna have it. Cut it there. Last but not the least, if you're unable to do it by yourself, please seek professional help. Go to a therapist, go to a psychiatrist, seek help. But before going there, ask your family and friends to help you out. And always remember that this is just a process. It is a mind having a mental diet, a good healthy mental diet is an ongoing process, and it will need you to be present, be consistent, and be aware of yourself, because it will take time. It will not happen overnight. But know that I'm there with you and I'm proud of you. Bye bye.